Hello, everybody. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to Ravensbourne University, London. My name is Sean Borstrock. Most of you have been here before, but I'll welcome you anyway. It's an honor, really, to introduce our inaugural professorial lecture tonight. This is the final one of our professorial lecture series, and tonight we're celebrating the work and achievements of Professor Maher. Chai brings a wealth of international experience spanning both industry and academia. Her career reflects a distinctive combination of organizational leadership, team development, teaching excellence, and doctoral supervision. At the heart of her work is a deep and sustained commitment to supporting students from diverse backgrounds and with varied educational experiences. She ensures they're not only able to succeed in academia, but also to thrive personally. Beyond the university, Chai has made a significant impact through her wider leadership and services as a non-executive director within the NHS, director of Social Enterprise Knowledge Exchange Network, and through her academic leadership roles, she has consistently championed the integration of research and knowledge exchange into real-world practice. This work has delivered meaningful benefits to students, colleagues, organisations and communities, both across the UK and internationally. Her contributions have been recognised through a number of prestigious awards, including the West Focus Enterprise Business Award and the Henry Walpole Teaching Award, both of which celebrate innovation and excellence in learning and teaching. It's therefore a real privilege for me to invite Professor Maher to deliver her inaugural professorial lecture.
So thank you, Sean, and welcome everyone, and thank you for taking your time to come this evening. So first of all, a bit about me, and I'll take it from there. So I'm honored to stand here in front of you to deliver this lecture. I'm truly grateful for your time that you've given your evening. You've been at work all day, and to find the time to come today, so I'm so grateful. So thank you. This occasion is not only a personal reflection of the encouragement and support I've received throughout my career and my childhood. I've also received encouragement and support from friends and family and many others along the way, which I'll mention as we go. The journey has brought me here, has shaped my relationships, my shared experiences, and has led to the appointment of me as professor at Ravensbourne University, and that I am grateful for. So thank you, Ravensbourne, for seeing the professor in me, because I think this is what it takes for an organization to look at an individual, look at their work, their career, their achievement, and to think they're worthy of that appointment. So thank you. So my humble beginnings. So this is my dad. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore, but he was profound in my life until today, carries with me my thoughts and my thinking. My father, Sam, remained one of the most profound influences in my life and the way I approach my work. He was orphaned at age 10 and was raised by distant relatives, growing up in circumstances not very easy. Yet, despite these hardships, he demonstrated remarkable resilience and determination. Education became his pathway forward, and he focused on that in an immense way. His hard work was recognized when he was awarded a British Council scholarship to study at the University of Leeds in the 60s. There he studied accountancy, and there he cleared a first-class honors in the 90s. Then we didn't have calculators. Remember, he cleared a first-class honors in accountancy and proceeded on to get his ACCA and qualified as a chartered accountant. And that, for me, was the premise of who I am today. He was always steady in his thinking, in his thought, in his guidance, and what he achieved. He approached everything with perseverance and a sense of responsibility that lasted impression on me. His journey for such a challenging beginning and such a distinct professional standing has been a constant inspiration in my life. It has shaped my values, my ambition, and reminded me the resilient discipline and the belief one purpose carries further in everyone's life, for me and my children. So my journey. After completing my first degree, I was ready to step into what I imagined to be a stable and predictable working life. I moved to Dublin, excited by the change and the responsibilities and possibilities also of what it offers. I began working part-time at the Eastern Health Board project supporting young men, young women, and young girls and young women for traveling communities. So if you think back many years, the traveling communities carries a stigma. And remember, I'm Black. I'm also in a community where there is a stigma on a particular community, but not with me as a Black person. This is a job that I took, which was absolutely exciting. As part of the project, I had the opportunity to present some of our findings to the sociology department at Trinity College, University of Dublin. At the time, I just saw it simply as doing my job. However, it became a turning point. A few weeks later, I was offered invitation for an interview at Trinity to teach on a women's studies module. That was my first step into academic life. I discovered very quickly how much I enjoyed teaching, the energy in the classroom, the debates, the change of ideas, and the sense of learning was alive and shared. Very exciting times. And of course, being in Dublin, there was the warmth, the humor of the Irish, which you cannot escape. I enjoyed that terribly. I never wanted to return, by the way, to London during that time. We laughed a lot, and those years was filled with both intellectual and personal growth. After a few years, my life began to change in so many ways. I got married and later got pregnant, and daughter number 1 was born. I vividly remember sitting for hours, heavily pregnant and marking and thinking to myself, oh, dear me, this can be life. It was one of those moments of reflection where I begin to reassess what matters and what comes next. A year later, we moved back to London, and daughter number 2 was born. I took the role of health education manager at the London Borough of Hounslow. I spent 3 years there, a period that was both demanding and formative. Alongside my work, I completed a master's degree in health education at King's College London. Balancing work, study, family life was not easy, but it was during that time I began to see more clearly the direction I wanted for my career to take. It was also during that time at Hounslow that I met someone that had a lasting impact and inspiration till today, and one of the best managers I've had, Peter Jones. I was very young, still finding my way, and he had incredible ability to see potential. I remember him calling me into his office and saying, he used to call me Okido as a kid, come here, because I was one of the youngest in the team. He said to me, you could give away A, B, and C projects to others, but keep X, Y, and Z ones to yourself. Those are the ones that will help you to progress in your career. And I'll never forget those sayings. It was a simple advice, but it stayed with me. He showed me how to be strategic, how to recognize opportunities, and how to take ownership of my own development. Eventually, I moved jobs as an executive director of a social enterprise organization working across London boroughs and Surrey. This organization, I grew from very minimal money. I made $1 million within 2 years. That was what I think having an academic background brings to you when you're in industry. So that helped an awful lot. It was an exciting and challenging step, one that allowed me to grow both professionally and personally. In 2007, I was fortunate to receive the West Focus Enterprise Award that Sean mentioned. It came with some cash. That was one great thing. What did I do? I immediately booked a holiday for Christmas to Brazil. And most importantly, 6 months of leadership management at Kingston University. At that time, I saw it as a professional development, but in hindsight, it marked the beginning of something much bigger. It was the point that started my professional doctorate at Kingston University. Throughout the journey, many people supported and encouraged me, but one person in particular stood out. His name is Professor Stavros Kalafatis. He wasn't my official supervisor, but he was generous with his time, his advice, and his encouragement. He used to say, Chai, finish this thing. Finish this thing. Before I go into his office to have a conversation about different aspects, Chai, finish this thing first. Meaning finish what you set out to do. That was a very good way to concentrate the mind. He believed in me, especially at moments of doubt. Sometimes it was those who go beyond the call of duty, which he did, that shape your path in life. Looking back, each step, Dublin, teaching, returning to London, publishing, leadership roles, created the foundation for the journey that brought me here today. So let's look at my next involvement in my career, which is community involvement. I think Sean will refer to it as knowledge exchange. Alongside my professional role, I found myself drawn to leadership and advocacy within the health sector. I became the vice chair of the Health Community Council for Hounslow, a role that gave me the real sense of responsibility to represent voices of patients and community who were unheard. One of the most significant consultations I led on during that time was the public consultation introducing single-sex wards for mental health patients. It was not an easy process, and strong views were heard. Personal experiences was also expressed, and there was complex discussions during those consultations. There was also resistance for cost reasons, but we, as the Health Community Council, fought all the way, and we won the case. During that time and following on, I also learned the importance of listening carefully, engaging respectfully, and ensuring that dignity and safety remains at the center of the decision we make for our community. That commitment to patients' voice continued when I was appointed as NHS non-executive director, a role I held for 10 years. Those years were challenging, deeply rewarding, and I had the privilege of chairing and leading a number of public consultations, again, in equality of patients that were sometimes not an easy task. I also played a key role in shaping and advancing dignity in healthcare guidance for the hospitals in Ealing, Hammersmith, and Hounslow. For me, this work was never abstract. It was about people, about lived experiences, ensuring that care system truly respected and valued each individual. In December 2017, I was invited by the Social Trade Australia to Melbourne to a workshop for social enterprise leaders. I still remember walking into a room full of 62 CEOs, senior managers from across the sector. Each bring their own challenges and ambition and stories. It was both humbling and energizing. I shared practical strategies of upscaling and scaling up social impact, and we engaged in open discussions about barriers organizations experience and face when government do not support such organizations, and how organizations could also support those organizations to grow within the community. That spirit of collaboration continued to shape my work internationally. In 2020, I received an invitation from the British Council, working in partnership with an Ethiopian higher education institution, to develop collaborative initiative in Mikel University. That project was particularly meaningful to me because it focused on empowering students, not just as learners, but as change makers. Through teaching, mentoring, and coaching, we supported the development of student-led social enterprise incubators. Seeing 15 new social ventures merge from that work was incredibly powerful. there was not just ideas that were real initiative, but the initiative that was challenging and supporting local communities. It reinforced my belief in the potential of education to drive social innovation and meaningful change. Between 2016 and 2021, I was the executive director of social enterprise knowledge exchange at St. Mary's University. This was truly a collaborative initiative and brought together academics, practitioners from public, private, and third sector organizations across UK, Poland, Spain, Portugal, Ethiopia, Gambia, and Ireland. Sergey, you remember this, don't you? Indeed. What made the work special was collective energy and shared commitment to shared knowledge as a tool for social impact. It created a space where each idea could move across boundaries and borders, where partnership could form and where different perspectives could support one another. Most recently, in 2025, I was also invited again by the British Council to participate in global engagement in UK-Romanian Education Collaboration Forum in Cluj, Romania. That experience was already beginning to bear fruit. Again, I thank Adine Kelly, Dr. Kelly Vincent, for her support in making it happen, because it nearly didn't happen, but she fought for it to happen, and it did happen. So thank you. So for me, Ravensbourne has now a new establishment and partnership with West University of Timisoara, Romania. We are particularly excited that our students will be traveling there later this month for fieldwork. For me, that is what it's all about. Creating opportunities for students to learn beyond classroom, to engage globally, and to see themselves as part of a wider community of practice and change. And that's what we're about as Ravensbourne. Looking back, these experiences were never just roles or positions. They were part of a journey shaped by people, by partnerships, and by a deep commitment to be fair, dignity, social impact across borders and across sectors, with a shared purpose of knowing and belonging to the same community. Now, I turn to my academic contribution. So, based on the work I talked about, working with young women from the traveling community. So this was my first book, with Sex Education and Health Matters for Girls. So at the time, remember, I have not entered into academia in a big way, but I did feel the need to express what we found and how we could benefit other communities. And Attic Press is now based in University of Cork, and they saw the opportunity and commissioned this book. And this book is still in publication today, so if you want to look at it. But I think it was, for me, generally about looking at sex education and how it matters from a holistic point of view, about how, for me, it's about empowering girls, to be honest with you. That's really what the book is about. And then the second academic contribution in terms of book, followed by my second book, which was written in 2017, which was about influence of public policy and social enterprise. And for most people, for me, public policy is what just governs all our lives. Most people say we're not interested in politics, but in reality, everything we do, health, education, environment, all is. So the government has got a stake in all this. So this book was about expressing in a way how public policy affects these organizations, which are social enterprises, which for me, a bedrock rock of how you could develop services from on the bottom up. And they do great work if you're interested in getting to know them. And then I edited a book, which I was the sole editor of, which is Value Creation for Small and Micro Enterprises. So this book captured about 16 chapters across USA, Europe, Africa, Latin America. And again, it looks again about how social enterprises, particularly micro social enterprises and small enterprises, could also develop within society. And the exciting thing about this book was that I think within 6 months of publication, I think 300 copies were sold. Bilal, you found a copy in the library the other day. So it's still going about. So, and then this one was just a book about mostly to do with my research, which took me around the whole of UK. So this was the book, Understanding Managerial Careers, Anchors and Career Pathway, but this is very much based on my doctoral thesis. Now, so Ravensbourne has given me this professorship. I think this has gone mad. So now this is my book that's due out. Remember, the first book editor has 16 chapters. This one has got 80. So there's 3 volumes coming out. So this has absolutely exploded. So also the exciting thing about this book for me is that it has come from places that you want to, the Maldives, Indonesia, Bali, you name it, they're all coming. So truly, when the book is published, I think we have a truly international, for me personally, of what global perspective on dynamics, career, and human resources management is about. And for those people also in the room that's contributed, thank you, because with the busy lives at Ravensbourne and teaching, you've all managed to do that. So I am grateful and thank you for that. This is the next chapter of the professorship. So having been appointed, unbeknown to me, I became the 82nd Black woman professor in the UK, the whole of the UK, in 2025. So when I pause to reflect on this journey, the twists and turns, the moment of doubt and determination, the people who have supported and challenged and believed in me, I recognize that my path has never been straightforward. It has been shaped by my work across public sector, the third sector, academia, each space teaching me something different, and leadership, resistance, and purpose. Whether advocating for patients' voices, supporting communities, engaging students in learning and innovation, each experience has contributed to who I am today. It is through this collective journey that I come to be appointed as the 82nd Black woman professor in the UK. Even saying that feels surreal and deeply humbling. On one hand, it's a personal achievement that reflects years of commitment, hard work, and perseverance. On the other hand, it carries a much wider significance. It speaks to representation, visibility, and to the reality that there are still few Black women of professorial roles who have professorial roles in the United Kingdom. I am very conscious that I do not stand here alone. I stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before me and create space where there was none. And here I am today. I also share alongside many others who are still on that path, navigating similar challenges, striving to be seen, heard, and valued. For me, this milestone is simply not a title. It's about responsibility. It's about using my position to open doors for those behind me, to mentor and support the next generation, and to continue pushing for more inclusive, equitable academic environment. It's also about staying grounded in the values that have guided me and commitment to making a difference. So while I feel deeply sense of pride in this moment, I also feel a sense of purpose, because this is not the end of the journey, it's a continuation with even greater responsibility to contribute, to lead, to ensure that others can follow and go even further. And that goes for Dr. Maher over there. So next, we come to the title of tonight's talk, which is the career management onwards and now and onwards. Where are we? What are we waiting for? And that's just the question. What are we waiting for? As I reflect on my own journey, it's become increasingly clear to me that the idea of traditional career is something many of us no longer experience in the same way. The path is not predictable or confined to a single organization. Instead, many of us are navigating what we now call a boundaryless careers that are shaped not by organization, but by individuals. I can certainly say that this has been true in my own life. At various points, I have had to make decisions without a clear roadmap, to step into unfamiliar spaces, and to create opportunities rather than wait for them to come to me. A boundaryless career is in many ways a self-managed journey. It requires you to seek out your own training, to build your own networks, and to create support networks that sustain you, truly sustain you. It may take you across roles, sectors, across countries and borders. Always the aim is to align your work with your values, your ambition, and your personal circumstances. What I've learned and what I often share with others is that we cannot afford to be passive about careers. We need to take ownership of our careers. We have to take ownership of them. That means making cautious choices about where we want to go, what we want to achieve, and be willing to adapt ourselves to those different circumstances. Do not stay standard still. You move with the times. Over time, I have developed a few principles that have guided me, which I would like to share with you. Take time to pause and reflect honestly on where you want to be in 2, 5, or 10 years' time. Those moments' reflection may be uncomfortable, but they're essential. Set yourself clear, meaningful goals, goals that stretch you. Yes, goals that stretch you and also represent who you are. Seek out advice from those who's walked the path before you. I cannot emphasize enough how important mentorship and support have been in my own journey. None of us succeeds in isolation. Regularly ask yourself, who do I truly want? What do I truly want in my career? Not what others expect of me. And generally, what matters to you. Create your own recipe for success. There is no single path to follow. Each of us must design a path that reflects our own values, priorities, and our life circumstances. We all have different life circumstances. Learn to recognize and celebrate your own progress, offering yourself positive feedback daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Even for small achievements, it helps to build confidence and resilience. And perhaps most importantly, I had to learn over time to give myself permission not to be perfect. But life, as many of you will know, is complex. There are competing demands, work, family, responsibility, friendships, and sometimes good, not good enough is actually enough. Whether it's an assignment or a project, or even never-ending list of tasks at home, perfection is not always the goal. Progress, balance, well-being matters much, much, much more. Ultimately, a boundaryless career is not just about professional success. It's about building a life that feels meaningful for you, sustainable for you, and true to who you are. And that, I believe, is something worth striving for. And finally, just to add to my mother, who said to me, housework is not a woman's work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China. Congratulations
Thank you.
for the inspiring talk and the appointment. That's not scripted. I was just reflecting on what you were saying while you were talking. And I don't even know if it's a good time to pose this question and a good occasion, but I'm going to give it a try. So you come from a place where you have very good insights and a very grounded perspective on how to work in changing and challenging conditions, shall I say, at a strategic position of leadership. And at the moment, academia and universities and education as a whole is facing a unprecedented challenge with technological advancements, social, political, financial problems, and so on and so forth. So my question is this: almost every other person will have a contradicting opinion on that, but what will be your prediction or your view on the future of education, and in particular higher education, in this environment? Where do you see opportunities and also the biggest challenges?
Thank you. So first of all, I did mention about having to look at careers across borders, across sectors. So I think the difficulties that people have within careers is that I'm here in organization A. I want to stay here till I retire. I think the boundaryless career is saying, think wider than that. So if there's problems within the education sector, think about maybe there are skills you have or you need to develop that will take you to other sectors that develop in. So that's what I'm thinking of. So secondly, or maybe if there's difficulties with institutions within higher education in the United Kingdom, maybe there are other parts of the world where it's all flourishing. Consider moving there. So you could always move back when things get bad. So it's about thinking about your strategic moves rather than you saying, I'm here in A, I will stay here. For me, the 21st century now is about you having the careers in your own hands to decide where you go to fit in with your own life and to come and go as you please to suit you. So that's how I see it. Rather than saying, yes, there's difficulty. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Think about what skills have I got that could be transferable elsewhere. You could go back to the public sector, we are very much a public sector, which is our skills are required there. And then you could return back when things get better. So that's how I will advise anyone who comes to me on that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Sergio, a PhD student. Thank you very much, Chai, for supporting people the way you do. And on the other hand, congratulations for achieving this name, if you want. My question for you will be, how important do you think the student mobility is in shaping and developing a career that is so challenging these days? Because we don't even know how careers will look in 2 years.
Thank you. So you're in the process of completing your PhD. So PhDs are required in industry as much as they're required in academia. And I think sometimes people have felt that after a PhD, your only destination is the higher education institutions. But if you go to industry with a PhD, you are more likely to be promoted very quickly. You're more likely to be leading a team because they see you as a specialist in your area. So yes, it's an academic endeavor, but there is also applicability elsewhere, not just in academia. So think widely rather than just narrowly. That would be my advice.
Just to your last point, how do you encourage industry to welcome you with open arms? I get that you say we should pivot, we should move between disciplines, we have the flexibility as much as we want that. But how do you encourage the people that you are going to talk to that you're the right person?
All right. So I give an example. So my journey into the NHS as an executive director came out of me being on the CHC, and I think they probably saw me fiercely challenging all kinds of issues, and they thought, oh God, this is the woman we want on our side, and they pinched me. And I remember having to resign immediately with immediate effect, and the Community Health Council were thinking, I bet she's going on the other side. So that's what happened. But for you, so think about where you want to be. So if you think about organization, they have annual general meetings, they have public meetings, show up. The people that you want to talk to are usually at that meeting. All these execs are over there. Make yourself known. So to sit where you are, to send emails or to send text messages, I think a personal contact still goes a long way. So if you're thinking to make that intro, watch the organization, think about where they're performing or where they're going to be. Make yourself available there and introduce yourself. You might not have to do that once. You might do it 2 or 3 times. The chair of the Hanslow PCT, I remember, was an accountant. And she wanted to come away from accountancy. I think she just wanted to be in the public sector. And she came to every single public consultation meeting we had, and she just sat there every single month. She didn't say anything for months. And then finally, she now had a more understanding about what we are. And then she made her way in, and then she ended up being a chair. So that was kind of a long-term buy-in before she got there. So yeah, that would be what I suggest about investing time in those organizations quietly, and then finally pounce when you're ready.
Hi, Chai. Congratulations, and thanks for the great talk. I was just wondering if you had a sense of particular areas that you might want to develop in Ravensbourne, or any directions you were interested in pursuing strategically while you're here, or things you think Ravensbourne should be doing or working on, and that you might be involved in your capacity as a professor.
I think we need to expand the research office. I think we need to expand research and have more funding if we can. And I think we're very new, and we're the new kid on the block, and therefore that's kind of stopping us. But I think if we have one win, we only want a small win, and somebody knows, and we make a big issue about we want this, that will make a difference. And I think for me, that will flourish. And I think personally for staff members, and I know my colleagues even sitting over there on that row, they're all striving to publish like mad. And I think they all would be delighted to be involved, and as certain all sorts of projects will bring in with money to allow them to do that. And that will help a buyout, and they could do more research. And then, that will help the development as well. So for me, that's where I think, if you want me to say for now, we're good at what we do. We teach well, and we're known for industry, what we do. But I think that is an area that needs expansion and needs money, but it needs to come from us. So we as staff members should try as much as possible to apply whatever is possible. They could say no, but have we try again? Somebody's going to say yes one day. And that is the beginning. Yeah, so that's how I see it.
Chai, what are you waiting for?
a big funding grant so we could get moving. That's what I'm waiting for. Thank you all. Again, I must thank you for coming out tonight. I know you're very busy, and most people have been at work today, so to have an evening of coming. But for young women, women in this room, remember what I said about housework. It doesn't pay, and Sabrin could be a voucher of that to you all, that I say leave that alone. Get on with your careers. That is the most important thing. Somebody else could do that. So thank you all. Thank you.